Morning. I'm from Law Society Wang Qingman. I'm the MC for today. First, I would like to thank you for participating in this seminar organized by the Hong Kong Law Society and Department of Justice. This is a webinar on opportunities brought about by the 14th Five-Year Plan for the Hong Kong legal sector. We have arranged Cantonese, Putonghua, and English interpretation. You may make use of the interpretation function on Zoom. Last month, the 14th Five-Year Plan was passed, and it supports the building of Asia-Pacific International Legal and Dispute Resolution Center in Hong Kong. This is an important agenda item for our future legal development. For this, the topic for today is set at policies, strategies, and opportunities to explore how legal practitioners should understand more about the policies and work together to seize the opportunities. Today, we have invited many very senior and experienced guests to share their views. So we would like the legal sector to discharge their functions and realize their potentials in this regard. Now, let's invite Ms. Melissa Pang, Chairman of Law Society, to deliver welcome remarks. Mr. C.Y. Leung, Ms. Teresa Chang, guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On the 31st of March, in the 13th NPC fourth meeting, the 14th Five-Year Plan of PRC's National Economy and Social Development and the 2035 Vision Objective Outline was passed. The 14th Five-Year Plan is the development blueprint for our coming 5 years of economic and social development. And it is also the guiding principle for the principles and strategies for development. So it is an integral part of both the state as well as Hong Kong. And so the 14th Five-Year Plan is very important. The Law Society is happy to work with DOJ of the Hong Kong SARG to organize this webinar. The topic is Policy, Strategies, and Opportunities. So we are here to explore opportunities brought by the 14th Five-Year Plan to the Hong Kong legal sector. The 14th Five-Year Plan, Chapter 61, has the aim of maintaining Hong Kong and Macau's long-term stability and prosperity. It restates policies like one country, two systems, Hong Kong people ruling Hong Kong, and high degree of autonomy and rule of law in Hong Kong. It supports Hong Kong to enhance its status as international financial, shipping, trading center, and international aviation hub. It strengthens the hub function for global offshore RMB business and international asset management center and risk management center. It supports Hong Kong to establish the Asia-Pacific International Legal and Dispute Resolution Service Center, regional IP and trading center. Besides, in the 14th Five-Year Plan, there is the mention of strengthening cooperation between cities in the Greater Bay. And the scope of mainland and Hong Kong and Macau, reciprocal professional qualifications should be expanded. And there should be facilitating policies for Greater Bay young people to take up work or study and start business. The Belt and Road also supports Hong Kong and Macau to build a co-building functional platform. In the past year, COVID-19 dealt a heavy blow on global economy. Despite that, Hong Kong has very sound legal environment and jurisprudence principles. And our international financial and dispute resolution center status is still firm. Actually, in many international rankings, we are still in a very front position. In terms of rule of law, infrastructure, business environment, and the finance sector, we have exhibited our competitive advantage. Our legal system is very sound and mature. We have very sound legal protection and law enforcement system. Our legal market opens towards the external. We have huge international legal network, and all along we are a hot spot for international arbitration. These are our competitive advantages, and Hong Kong as well as international investors are given a platform and business environment so that they feel some peace of mind. The Belt and Road and Greater Bay developments will bring about opportunities for the economy. The central government explicitly supports Hong Kong to build Asia-Pacific International Legal and Dispute Resolution Center. It supports Hong Kong to establish itself as a dispute resolution and service center also for the Belt and Road. In November 2019, the central government announced that qualified practitioners, legal practitioners, after taking examination, can get practicing qualification in the 9 cities in Greater Bay to practice mainland law. I'm happy that there are 600 odd legal practitioners who have enrolled to the examination in order to get the practicing rights in the Greater Bay. This will bring about new opportunities for Hong Kong's legal sector. I believe more Hong Kong lawyers will be attracted to take part in the Greater Bay development. Rule of law is an important cornerstone for Hong Kong. And internationally, rule of law is well respected, and Hong Kong takes pride in this. We have confidence that our judicial and legal systems will continue to defend rule of law. According to the basic law and also one country, two systems principle, it will play its function. I hope that legal practitioners in Hong Kong can seize the opportunities from the 14th Five-Year Plan. And we should have our strengths realized so that we can contribute to the state's development. Finally, I need to thank all guests for spending time with us at this webinar. And thank you for sharing your insights. I also need to thank the SARG, Invest Hong Kong, and Hong Kong Chinese Enterprise Association Legal Professional Committee for being our supporters. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Pang. We are very honored to have the Vice Chairman of the 13th National Committee of CPPCC, Mr. C.Y. Leung, to deliver a keynote speech. He will talk about opportunities from the 14th Five-Year Plan, and he will also give some very insightful thoughts. Without further ado, let's invite Mr. C.Y. Leung. Ms. Teresa Chang, Ms. Melissa Pang, friends, during the 14th Five-Year Plan, it is the period in which our country will become moderately wealthy, and we are going to realize the first 100-year goal, and we will move towards the second 100-year goal. And then it is also an important 5 years after the political difficulties are overcome in Hong Kong. Thank you, Law Society and DFJ, for organizing this webinar. I would like to explore opportunities from the 14th Five-Year Plan to the Hong Kong legal sector from 3 areas. 1, important points related to the legal sector under the 14th Five, and number 2, the state's overall expectation on Hong Kong, and 3, the confidence and attitude that we should have when we face the 14th Five. Now, in the 14th Five-Year Plan, there are some key highlights related to the Hong Kong legal sector. I think you are familiar with the chapter on Hong Kong and Macau, especially the following session. So the state will support Hong Kong to enhance its role as international financial shipping trading center and international aviation hub. The global offshore RMB business hub, international asset management function and risk management center function should be enhanced. And the state will support Hong Kong to establish itself as international innovation and technology center. Asia Pacific International Legal and Dispute Resolution Service Center, Regional IP Trading Center, and there should be high-end value-added development in Hong Kong in the service industry. Of course, what is related to the legal sector here is the point about supporting Hong Kong to develop itself into an Asia Pacific International Legal and Dispute Resolution Center. And then as regards the Hong Kong's role as other centers and hubs, there is also the need for huge amount of professional legal service. For example, Hong Kong wants to enhance its status as international shipping center. Well, this is not only about expanding our container terminal business, but then it is related to the development of the new maritime service sector, including vessel purchase and sale, leasing, registration, insurance, financing-related maritime legal service to enhance Hong Kong's international shipping center status. And this can also enhance our development standard. I always say that for those container vehicle, container truck drivers working in the terminal, if their children can be nurtured into maritime lawyers, then this family will enjoy improvement. And if all next generation of container truck drivers can become experts in maritime service, then Hong Kong will see huge improvement. For example, to enhance our status as an international aviation hub, this is not only about having more international flights. Actually, a few years ago, we started the development of our aircraft leasing business. Now, China is working fast in the area of shipbuilding, shipping, and aviation. We are becoming a powerful nation in these areas, and there's the need for related legal service. And Hong Kong's legal sector's service is what our country needs, and it is also our strength here. So legal services here in these areas have just started its development, and we should attach more importance to them. Apart from the Macau-Hong Kong chapter, other chapters in the 14th Five-Year Plan should also be given attention. Chapter 10 is on the prosperous development of the service industry, and there is a section on deepening service area reform. So there should be further opening up internally as well as externally in the service sector. There should be more market access opportunities. Unreasonable restrictions should be abolished. And there should be policy and system supporting the development of the service industry. There should be innovation in service business model. And also, there should also be policies conducive for land, tax, finance, and also pricing mechanism for the sector. And then I think there should be streamlining of the system so that there will be highly effective service industry regulatory system. For service industry talents, their job titles should be improved on, and practitioners should be encouraged to take vocational training and accreditation. And there should be also more pilot schemes about service industry reform. And then Chapter 20 is about a high standard market system. And Section 1 is about a comprehensive ownership or title system. There should be clear responsibilities and obligations and rights, and there should be stringent protection and a smooth workflow for modern title or ownership system. There should be civil codes to be implemented. So the rights about ownership, debt or equity rights should be clearly clarified. The existing property rights protection should also be made more comprehensive. And there should be legal protection and a better arrangement about how to handle cases in relation to ownership. And there should be a review mechanism. In cases of wrong judgment, there should be a redress system or a review system. And there should be more channels to very smoothly handle grievances and complaints. there should be a very comprehensive natural resource and ownership system. And then in relation to mutual recognition of qualifications, Chapter 31 is about in-depth implementation area. And Section 3, about the Greater Bay, states that professional mutual recognition between mainland and Hong Kong and Macau should be expanded. And there should be interface in rules as well as systems. So that's why if we are to understand opportunities for Hong Kong under the 14th Five, there should be all-round understanding of the whole plan. And we should not only limit our understanding to only the chapter on Macau and China. Number two, I would like to talk about the state's expectations on Hong Kong. On 12th November 2018, President Xi Jinping met with various sectors of Hong Kong and Macau in the People's Hall. And he talked about Macau and Hong Kong's role and contribution in the state's reform and opening up. President Xi said in the state's reform and opening up, Hong Kong and Macau have very unique roles, and contribution of Hong Kong and Macau people is important and big, and the function will be irreplaceable. In the past 40 years, Hong Kong and Macau people have continued to make sustainable contribution and in-depth contribution in all areas to China's opening up. For instance, the pilot scheme. Well, in China's reform, there are many policies that are first tried out in Hong Kong and Macau, and then experience is accumulated before further expansion. So this is a good move to effectively control risk, and there will also be first mover advantage for Hong Kong and Macau. For example, the opening up of mainland service industry started first with SIPA in Guangdong and Hong Kong and Macau. So there is liberalization of trade, of service in these areas, so that China can accumulate more experience in the checklist management model. President Xi said that in further opening up, Hong Kong and Macau still have unique positions, and we will play irreplaceable functions. We need to understand and seize the opportunities for Hong Kong and Macau. In the new positioning of China, we should support Hong Kong and Macau to seize the opportunities and nurture new competitive advantages. For this, there are 4 hopes mentioned by President Xi. We should be more active in helping the state in fully opening up Hong Kong, Macau international connections, and also our professional services should help the state and also interface or integrate with the market and industrial systems in China. Number 2, we should integrate ourselves more with the state's development. Number 3, we should also take active part in the ruling or in the governance of the state. President Xi said that we need to show interest in the overall development of the state and defend the state's political system. We should also contribute to build the state's economy, policies, culture, social, and ecological civilization. There are different ways to support the state in taking part in the overall global governance. For these 3 hopes, well, they apply to the Hong Kong society as a whole, as well as to Hong Kong's legal sector. Finally, I would like to talk about the attitude that the legal sector in Hong Kong should have. 42 years ago, in China, there still was not paid professional service, and Hong Kong at that time could not see the possibility of paid service in mainland China. Given that macro environment, 20-odd Hong Kong professionals together created the Modernization of Professionals Association. So they contributed to the modernization of China with their professional knowledge. The founding president is Madam Maria Tam. Is Liu Yiu-chu, and other founding members include Mr. Peter Chen, barrister, and Mr. Ho Yiu-tai. So 20 years ago, together with 10 professional bodies in Hong Kong, including Law Society and the Bar Association, together created the Hong Kong Professional Alliance. We enhanced the exchange between Hong Kong and mainland professionals. So in the initial stage of having paid service, we promoted Hong Kong's professional service. Back then, many people were not that positive about our developing the mainland market. Well, they are of the view that professionals in Hong Kong did not have much connection in China, their fees were high, and there was language barrier and other barriers. But, well, all professionals in different sectors worked together to ride out the difficulties. And then 18 years ago, CEPA and the supplemental agreements were established. And today, for various professions, the mainland market has already become our biggest offshore market. In recent years, I always emphasized that right now, our country attaches much importance to rule of law. People always look forward to the rule of law. And there is closer connection in the economy between China and the global economy. So the overall quality of our legal services see the urgent need to improve. Hong Kong lawyers have many advantages. Not only the system advantage, but there is also the language advantage. And then we have strong connections with overseas players. And so we are like super connector. For law firms in Hong Kong, we have sound management and strong professional conduct. We have won a lot of trust from external players. So these give us good opportunities for us to work for China and for our people. I also wish that during the 14th five-year plan, our legal sector can seize the opportunities to develop wider and higher quality legal service to support our country in moving towards the second 100-year goal, so that there will be strong development for Hong Kong's legal service sector. So if there is anything that I can serve the legal sector, please let me know. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Leung. I believe participants have already gained a lot. Next, we will have panel discussion on the 14th five-year plan and future positioning of the Hong Kong legal sector. Guests will talk about this theme, unleashing opportunities for cross-border commercial transactions. At the end of each panel discussion, there will be 15-minute Q&A. So you may make use of the Q&A function on Zoom to type in your questions. Now, let's start the first panel. The theme of this panel is Unleashing Opportunities for Cross-Border Commercial Transactions. The moderator is Mr. Chen Chak-ming, Hong Kong Law Society Vice Chairman and Greater China Legal Affairs Committee Chairman. Our guests include Mr. Nicholas Chan, Ms. Maria Tam, NPC SC, Hong Kong SARG Basic Law Committee Vice Chairman, Mr. Ambrose Lam, F. Zimmerman and Company, and also Grandor Legal Group Managing Partner. And then we have also Mr. Nicholas Chan, Hong Kong SAR, 13th NPC Deputy, and also partner of Squire Sanders. And also we have Mr. Jimmy Chiang, Invest Hong Kong Associate Director General. First of all, over to you, Mr. Chan. Thank you. On 31st of March, the 14th five-year plan outline was passed. As Mr. C.Y. Leung said, there is a chapter on Hong Kong and Macau. Someone had surveyed that the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, this name was mentioned 14 times in the outline. I'm so happy that in less than 2 weeks, we are able to have this webinar on the legal sector. Just now, our MC said that this panel is going to take a macro view. At the same time, a practical practicing perspective will also be adopted in our discussion. Our first guest, Ms. Maria Tam, Well, I don't need to really introduce her, but still, I need to make some points about her particulars. Before reunification, Mr. Tam was a consultant in Hong Kong affairs. He is also a drafting member of the Basic Law. After reunification, Ms. Tam was elected as Hong Kong deputy of the NPC. She was appointed to the NPC SC, and she is now the vice chairman of the Basic Law Committee of the NPC SC, and she is also the convener of Hong Kong deputies. In 2013, the SARG presented GBS to Ms. Tam to recognize her important contribution to Hong Kong. Now I will pass the floor to Ms. Tam. Thank you, CM. The Honorable Mr. C.Y. Leung, Ms. Melissa Pang, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm very honored to be invited by Law Society and DOJ to take part in this webinar on policy, strategies, and opportunities. I think that today our theme, policy, strategies, and opportunities, is very valid. Just now, Mr. Leung already made some introducing remarks. He explained the key points about the topic already. So actually, we can see those as overarching principles. Let me share my views. I will talk about the situation faced by the legal sector as well as future developments. We can see that the policies are very adequate under the 14th Five-Year Plan, and there are many points about how Hong Kong can have our strengths realized. And there are also supporting policies under the Greater Bay developments. Regarding opportunities, actually, in the past year, we fought COVID-19, and comparing with other parts of the world, I think China's economic development was the first to go back to the right track. Production and work was resumed the earliest. And I think China is the future economic growth engine. As regards opportunities, there are so many opportunities all over the place. We can seize them. Whether or not we can really seize the opportunities depends on whether we have strategies. No matter whether we talk about national development and also how we can integrate into China's development and to serve China's needs, or whether we think about our personal level, about our personal career development and breakthrough, the most important thing is whether we have the determination. We need to change. We should not have the old way of thinking about China's laws. We should ride out the challenges and difficulties. Now, I would like to share with you my understanding, first of all, about policies. What is the content of the 14th Five-Year Plan, which Hong Kong can take as opportunities? Of course, you may be interested in Para 57 on how to support Hong Kong and Macau's development. I won't go into the details because Mr. C.Y. Leung has made the points very clearly. Now, for Hong Kong, if we are able to realize our strengths. Actually, not only Para 57 is important. Para 13 is about faster development of modern service industry and also moving towards professionalism, high end in the value chain. There should be faster R&D and also design of modern logistics and legal services. Para 17 is to facilitate dual circulation externally and internally, and there should also be better coordination system, and external and internal trade system should be enhanced. There should be actual standards for operation, and there should be better interface about accreditation and certification. And then the overall market layout should be optimized. Para 39, higher standard open economy new system. There should be higher degree of opening up, and trade and also investment should also be facilitated. There should be stronger competitiveness for our external trade. Service industry should be opened up, and foreign enterprises' rights should be better protected. and there should be sound legal system to protect foreign enterprises and overseas development, and also our legal rights should be defended. Para 41, we should take active part in global economic governance. We should take active part in the reform of WTO, and there should be a fairer and more reasonable global economic governance system. We should take active part in multilateral regional investment trading cooperation mechanism. We should also enhance the rule setting in emerging areas so that international finance governance capability should be enhanced. I think all these are bringing opportunities to us. First of all, legal sector is based on production, and we serve the real economy. In China, the real economy is very prosperous. It will be our growth driver for our coming 10 or 15 years development. Last year in October, the State Council printed the Hong Kong legal practitioners and Macau legal practitioners route to get practicing eligibility in mainland China after taking exam. Ms. Pang said that 600 lawyers have already registered for the examination, and I hope that they will be successful in getting the license. 40 years ago, Mr. C.Y. Leung, led a group of professionals to build this bridge to mainland China so that our service can help China's development. So if you refer to some legal matters in Greater Bay, I think that part will be opened up to legal practitioners who can pass the exam. So after the first 600 people, I'm sure there will be more to follow. Besides, for development direction of the legal sector, there are a lot more. Policies that I mentioned above are to expedite the development of modern service industry in China, as well as more open economic system. There is also policy about the Belt and Road, and also more active part in global governance. All these show that our state needs higher level, more modernized legal knowledge and service. At the end of last year, a meeting on rule of law in China was convened, and President Xi Jinping made important remarks. 11 instances were mentioned, and that is an important strategic plan about rule of law in China. And point number 9 is insist on promoting mainland rule of law, as well as the extraterritorial arrangement, so that we can combat risk or guard against risk, and we can defend national interest. So the first 2 lines were the quotes. On the 10th of January, the white paper on the 14th five-year plan was printed, and then there is a section on legal work. There should be setting of international rules, and also applicable legal systems should be built. Our arbitration organizations should work more on the Belt and Road. There should be stronger legal service involving the external parties. And about arbitration, of course, our expert is the Secretary for Justice, and we need to thank Mr. C.Y. Leung, because when he was the Chief Executive of Hong Kong, he had helped AAIL establishment. So when China is getting stronger, there is more legal competition and conflicts involving external parties. The state needs a lot of legal experts who are comparable with international counterparts. Hong Kong is highly open and highly developed. Our legal sector is familiar with all the rules under international standards, and we do have the capability to help China's modernization, and also better governance, better rule-based governance. Legal sector, legal practitioners in Hong Kong can also serve as a replenishment to China's talent pool. Just now I talked about policies, now strategies. Hong Kong has made huge contribution to China's opening up, and we have actually played a irreplaceable role. And with a special moment in time in history and special international connections, we have connected China to the world. We have helped China's development, and as a result, we created our very glorious days. And the Western countries, led by the U.S., actually wanted to incorporate China into their system. Hong Kong is a window. Hong Kong is also a bridge. And in the past, we were good at playing that role. Now, time has changed. We experience a once-in-a-century radical change, and there is rise in protectionism and unilateralism. China has widened its scope of opening up and reform, but then the external environment has not changed much. And for Hong Kong, there would be direct impacts. If Hong Kong is to get out of this difficult position, we need to review our positioning and functions. The 14th five-year plan talks about dual circulation for China. I think it is very important change, seen once in a century, and this is an opportunity that Hong Kong should not miss. Our future depends on whether we can seize the opportunities from the dual circulation. And in the past, we connected China to the world, and we helped Chinese products to be exported to other countries, and we brought in capital as well. So we served as an intermediary. Under the new dual circulations, Hong Kong as a middleman should change the role. We should reverse our position. We should operate reversely. We should help overseas products to get into China to satisfy China's consumption and production needs. Besides, there is the RMB internationalization strategy, the Belt and Road, and high degree of opening up. So I think Hong Kong should be a place for Chinese funds to go abroad. So I think no matter which direction we are talking about, we are still working a lot with global world. Hong Kong is a free port and an international financial center, and also an important constituent of global economy. So I think we can also play a good role on the opposite direction. I don't think my time is enough. I need to go faster, right? So sorry, what are the opportunities? We need to seize the best point of integration. For example, under the 14th five-year plan, Hong Kong is supported to develop ourselves into an IP and trading center. And then in Hong Kong, the TDC has already built the Asia IP trading platform with more than 35 working partners. I believe that when China attaches more and more importance to IP, the number of IPs will increase. Okay. On the other hand, China's IP protection policies are already taking more active part in international governance. At the end of November last year, there was a learning session to look into enhancing Chinese IP protection system. So the number of patent application has been number one in China. We have already 2.67 million valid patents. And I think China is already a powerful nation in IP. I'm sure Nick will make a lot of comments on that. So China's policies are to enhance awareness in international rules. We should take deeper part in IP regulation and standards. We should not only talk, but we should also serve as role models. I'm sure Mr. C.Y. Leung is already a good role model. China does not only need professional service, but also international talents. We should help China build a sound system. Young people, you are born at the right time. Well, I think you can have your strengths realized. At the same time, you will be able to leave your footprint in our state's development. Ambrose and Nick are beside me. They can share their experience. Ladies and gentlemen, the stability and prosperity of Hong Kong are closely related to us as well as to China's development. It is an integral part. The 14th Five-Year Plan and the 2035 Vision give guiding principles and directions for China's socialist development. NPC has made a decision to improve Hong Kong's election system, and NPCSC just amended Annexes 1 to 2 of Basic Law. So Hong Kong is going to have a more peaceful social and political environment. China wants Hong Kong to have its strengths realized so that we won't waste further time, and we should not waste further time. These are some effective means adopted by China. China is already going faster, and we should take part in this marathon, and we should establish our path. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Tam, for your excellent speech regarding strategies and our tactics and our opportunities. Well, her speech is really excellent. Just now, Ms. Tam said that Hong Kong should not miss this opportunity any further. Yes, this is true. After reunification, we have wasted quite a lot of time. I think, in particular, young people should review this. Ms. Tam also stressed one point, the importance of extraterritorial law. Hong Kong is the only common law city of China, and we play a very important role. So young people should also think about this. Now let's invite the next speaker, Mr. Nicholas Chen. I'm sure you are familiar with Mr. Chen in relation to high value added development, IP, technology. He has rich experience. Mr. Chen is a partner of Grandor Legal Group and F. Zimmerman and Company in terms of telecommunications, media technology, and also regulation. He has a lot of experience. He has rich IT knowledge. He has been a member of the Law Society and also vice chairman of the Belt and Road Committee. He has many public offices, for example, a member of the Legal Aid Council and also member of the board of the Hong Kong UST. Without further ado, I will pass the floor to Nick. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, CM. Thank you, Mr. Leung. Thank you, Ms. Chang, Ms. Pang, Invest Hong Kong, and also Chinese Enterprise Association friends, online guests. Well, I have prepared a PPT. Well, this is a place where we are bilingual, we are trilingual and biliterate. My PPT is in English. I will speak in Cantonese. Okay, I will move on. Next page. So if you look back every year in March, we have the two congresses, so CPPCC as well as NPC. And here on this slide, you can see 10 agenda items. Every time, the Premier will deliver his work report. And then friends in the legal sector always say that social affairs are all closely related to law. So if you also agree to this point, then all social affairs are affairs for the legal sector. What do lawyers do? We solve problems. So we should keep a close eye on China's development, her problems and opportunities. By doing this, we are not only helping our firm, ourselves, and our clients, we are also helping the whole country in her development. So first, work reports of the government. So China is successful in alleviating poverty and becoming moderately wealthy. Last year, there was 2.3% GDP growth despite such a difficult time, thanks to everybody's contribution. Well, the legal sector only accounts for a small share of GDP, but in fact, that is only the surface. In society, a lot of things are based on law. Rule of law is important. Actually, President Xi also said that we are building and strengthening our rule of law. So China is ruled according to the law. So on this, I think there are more and more opportunities. Next slide, please. So I think the report from the Supreme People's Court and the report of the Supreme People's Procuratorate is important because it is very rare that these organizations will tell us what we need to do in order to get better development. For example, about IP, what we should do to strengthen our IP protection, what we should do against counterfeits. So what work has been done and what are some good points? These are well explained in the reports. Next slide. We are talking about high-end, high-quality growth. So I think this should be applicable in all sectors. We have been hearing a lot about the Internet Plus era. In the second panel, there will be Mr. So and Mr. So and other guests who will talk about work done in the online arbitration center. So a lot of technology is used in the legal sector. I want to suggest that you review how you are able to be high-tech, high-value added. We should empower ourselves with technology. I work a lot on M&A and private equity. You may work on other things. So in your own area, what is right now very tedious, you may pass it over to the computers and AI. You don't need to be worried that you will be replaced by technology. I think the state is also moving towards this direction. In the coming year, a manufacturing company in China, if it invests $100 in science and technology, it will enjoy 100% tax concession. And even if it is not in the manufacturing sector, well, it will get 75% tax concession. So we should also get that. Well, many companies can also work with the legal sector. So this is being planned in China. 7% of R&D growth is the goal. So this is really huge. Next page, please. The 14th five-year plan. Okay. This is the final year. This is the final year of the 13th five-year plan, and we are going to have the 14th five-year plan. And then there is also the 2035 vision and 2030 important technology plan. All these are being examined and deepened. You should also take part. If your customers have any insights, if you have any insights, please let us know. We can relay your points to the state. Policies can be amended to help the state's development. I think this is very important. I think we all look forward to traveling. If you travel to a new place which is not familiar to you, what can you do? You may refer to the map. If you are now facing a very dynamic 5-year and you don't have the crystal ball, then it is best to refer to the 14th five-year plan. Well, national leader had said that for the 13th five-year plan, we have exceeded the target. And I am confident that we will also exceed the target of the 14th five-year plan. Our customers and we ourselves should make use of this roadmap. It is like a crystal ball. It is like GPS for our navigation. Next page. So regarding technology, there will be different regional cooperation. In the 14th five-year plan, there is a chapter on Macau and Hong Kong SAR. That's chapter 65. Other chapters are also important. for regional development and also dual circulation, internal and external circulations. Well, Hong Kong is like an important gateway. Now, there is RCEP, and then regarding digital China, what can we do? We can bring related technologies and IPs in. Next page, please. Digital China. Technology is important. Next slide. I won't go into the details here, but then during the NPC meeting, well, we are definitely not rubber chops. There is a lot of opportunity for us to deliberate, and we even argued behind closed door, but that's fine. We have worked hard to strive for more for Hong Kong. So the word hub, the word hub versus a center. Well, hub and center differ a lot. If you are a hub, then no other people will be a hub. So we need to see how we can cooperate with Greater Bay and young people, people's livelihood, education, elderly cases for fighting a lot for us. So we have some natural advantages under one country, two systems. How can court rulings be reciprocally recognized? Usually CM will share these figures with you. So you can see how unique Hong Kong is. We have 900 odd law firms and 10,000 odd lawyers. We have 33 is very different. As a result, the way of work is also different. Mainland lawyers work fast. Basically, 5 plus 2, and then, they work all 7 days in a week. They are humble, they are respectful, and they are obedient. Young lawyers do not only make coffees and teas, they carry briefcases for bosses, they drive their bosses as well. In Hong Kong, bosses are not even brave enough to ask young lawyers to make tea and coffee. And I am honored that our law firms can take up some big cases. Well, we have worked on cross-border M&A cases worth a few 10 billion. And there are also litigation arbitration cases worth a few billion or a few 10 billions. We have prepared all legal documents to implement cross-border e-commerce operations. We learned about tendering in Hong Kong. For law firms, there is little work about tendering. But in mainland China, there is a lot of tendering work. And quotation submission is fast. We always need to build platform there to expand interpersonal connections. Now I manage a nationwide law firm, so we are more international. Scale of customers is even bigger. So administratively, things are systematic. In terms of scope of service, things are more professional. Now I spend most time and effort in identifying talents. I would like to take this opportunity to say that if you want to have bigger career, feel free to contact me and join my team. At the same time, I feel down to earth because we have a team of a few thousand lawyers, and we have strong support. Next page. Today in this panel, we are talking about cross-border commerce and opportunities for Hong Kong lawyers from the 14th Five-Year Plan. Mr. Leung and Ms. Tam have talked a lot about the 14th Five-Year policies. So these are some basic points. In Chapter 2, Section 2, it lays down principles that need to be observed. Well, if we discharge our own responsibilities as lawyers, then we can meet this principle. Chapter 3, the 2035 vision, and also the near-term objectives under 14th Five-Year Plan. Near-term objective is to make rule of law more sound, and for the long run, we need to build a society based on rule of law. And then the 12th Five-Year Plan was about comprehensive implementation of legal system. 13th Five-Year Plan talks about building rule of law in China, and also society based on rule of law. Now, we have 14th Five-Year Plan. It is about ruling China, ruling Hong Kong with rule of law. So China is moving towards rule of law. As long as our country has rule of law, then lawyers will have a lot of room for development. Chapter 61, about Greater Bay. Small, medium-sized or large law firms will enjoy big development potential in China. Next, lawyers follow customers. Cross-border business, customers follow where the money is, or go where the money is. Last year, there was COVID-19, so the figure might not be that accurate. In 2019, you can see that it's 360 odd billion USD, or 2.8 trillion Hong Kong dollars. So Greater Bay is 4.5 times of us. China is 40 times ours. So you know where the money is and where customers are. We should follow them. So we will get a good advantage because we are close. What about business and commerce? With EU and Eastern Europe and the US, we have some trading volume. For EU in 2019 was still the largest. But the latest statistics show that our trading volume with Eastern Europe is the biggest, and number 2 EU, number 3 US. Finally, Hong Kong fellow lawyers, we need to understand history and know the macro environment now. Only then can we position ourselves right. Since Ming Dynasty, when the border was closed, we are the most fortunate Chinese. Now, our country is full of opportunities and vitality. As long as we bear in mind this point and as long as we have aspiration, we can get on board. Just now, Mr. Leung said that Hong Kong lawyers have some strengths and advantages. No matter whether you want to work in small firms or medium-sized firms or large firms in GBA, there are already huge opportunities. If you work on international business, then you need to make a strategic plan and work with all law firms in China. Your mindset will determine your destiny. I can share with you a good example. Just take a look at the youngest deputy of the NPC this year, and also the youngest legal representative in LegCo Hong Kong, Mr. Kwok Wing Hung. Well, you can see the destiny. Mindset will determine your destiny. The higher you stand, the farther away you can see. So you will then know what your right positioning should be. Opportunities are always for those who are well prepared. So please equip yourself. And if you develop your own specialty, then you will succeed. Finally, I wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lam, for your sharing. Just now, I heard Mr. Lam's sharing of his own experience and how he worked in Tianhai. Well, that is very insightful. And then he talked about national policies and strategies. I also agree to his conclusion. There is one point that I feel deeply about contact and connection with mainland lawyers. Well, the legal sector of Hong Kong always feels that we are superior. However, if you look at the whole country's layout, fund flow, I think this sense of superiority needs to be double thought, because mainland lawyers are really outstanding, especially the top-rate ones. So we should think of how we can cooperate and develop with mainland lawyers in the future. Thank you. Next, Dr. Chiang. After listening to the legal sector's sharing in a more macro perspective, let's now listen to Dr. Chiang. He is not practicing in the legal sector. Well, in 2003, he joined Invest Hong Kong. He is now the Associate Director General of Invest Hong Kong. He handles commercial and professional service, consumer goods, creative economy, finance and tourism. He focuses on investment promotion in all these sectors. Now over to you, Dr. Chiang. Thank you, Mr. Chen. Online, offline guests and friends, good morning. I'm honored to be here on behalf of Invest Hong Kong. This webinar is on policy, strategies, and opportunities. Invest Hong Kong is under the commercial and economic development. We attract investments from outside. We promote Hong Kong's advantages and opportunities. So in attracting foreign investment, I would like to talk about the opportunities brought by the 14th Five-Year Plan to our local legal sector. First, as Ms. Maria Tam said, the 14th Five-Year Plan affirms the dual circulation of China. That is a new development layout. And Hong Kong is the most internationalized and market-oriented city in China. So surely we will be an active participant of the dual circulation and also a facilitator of China's external circulation. In order to facilitate international circulation, I think we need to do more in attracting foreign investment. That is an important role that we should play. Actually, in 2019, according to national statistics, for inbound investment to China, the total was 130 odd billion USD. 70% was from Hong Kong. In the same year, outbound investment from mainland to the global economy, 136.9 billion USD. 66% flew into Hong Kong. So from this, we can deduce that Hong Kong is still a place that facilitates dual fund flow between China and the world. And this importance will continue to rise in the future. Because of that, our need for outstanding legal service will be bigger. So now let's get back to the 14th five-year plan. A few points were made. Just now, speakers elaborated on those. So there are directions to support Hong Kong's economy. There are a few points which were there before. There are some new points. For example, supporting Hong Kong as international financial, transportation and trade center, global offshore RMB business hub, international asset and risk management center, international legal and dispute resolution services hub, and high-end and high-value-added service industries. These 4 points used to be there already, and there are new strategies including supporting Hong Kong as international aviation hub, international innovation and technology and regional intellectual property trading center, hub for arts and cultural exchanges between China and rest of the world. I believe that these industries in the future will see big development opportunities in Hong Kong with these policy and strategy support. And because of these, I think we will see bigger strengths in attracting foreign investment. We can also foresee that in the future, there will be two main pillars in Hong Kong. First, finance. Two, innovation and technology. For all these areas, I think they will be supported by high-end and high-value-added professional services, including legal services. Today, because of time, I want to focus on financial service and innovation and technology. I will talk about opportunities and latest developments. In relation to financial services, right now, we can see that there are huge opportunities in a number of sectors. First, capital markets. In the past 12 years, there are 7 years in which Hong Kong was the number one IPO center in the world. And Hong Kong Exchange has introduced some new measures to attract new economy enterprises from China and overseas to Hong Kong for listing. And it is expected that in the future, there will be more Chinese concept shares coming back to Hong Kong for secondary listing. Because of these reasons, our capital markets in Hong Kong will see stronger support. Besides, asset and wealth management. Hong Kong is already Asia's largest asset and wealth management center. In 2018, assets managed through Hong Kong amounted to 3.1 trillion USD. This amount is 100% of GBA's GDP. And in the future, Invest Hong Kong will do more to attract global family offices to Hong Kong to do business. We hope that for Hong Kong's financial sector and professional service sector, more opportunities will be generated. In recent years, the government worked actively to offer tax concessions for some strategic sectors. For example, corporate treasury centers and aircraft leasing, private equity funds, and so on. I believe that such tax regimes will bring positive help to our finance sector. And then regarding innovation and technology, in recent years, in a few areas, you can see fast development in Hong Kong, especially fintech, AI, robotics, bio healthcare, big data, and so on, smart city. So we can see faster development. And this current government is active in supporting INT. In the past, more than 100 billion Hong Kong dollars was invested. So there is the super tax concession scheme to encourage R&D. And then there are startup funds, R&D funds, hardware supporting facilities are strengthened, talents are trained, and our startup ecosystem is being enhanced. With regards to startup ecosystem, I think our recent development has been quite satisfactory. According to our annual surveys, last year in 2020, there were 3,360 startups. In 2017, comparing with 2017, we're up 51%. Comparing with 2019, we're up 6%. So among startup entrepreneurs in Hong Kong, 26% are non-locals. Most of them are from mainland China, UK, and the US. So for areas of investment of startups, mainly fintech, e-commerce, and professional services. So legal tech is also an emerging area. The 14th Five-Year Plan emphasizes the importance of GBA development. GBA development will enable Hong Kong to integrate well into China's development. At the same time, it will strengthen Hong Kong's role as a connector between China and the world. GBA development is one of the biggest highlights in marketing. So it is most attractive to overseas investors. Recently, in a few important sectors, there are some new measures about GBA development. For example, Wealth Management Connect. It will generate a lot of opportunities for our finance sector. At the same time, we can play a better role as a hub for overseas RMB business. And then professional services like legal, architecture, and engineering and construction sectors, there are new measures to help Hong Kong companies and professionals to better able to start up company in GBA. For INT, Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Cooperation Zone will be a new growth engine to drive INT development. Overall speaking, COVID-19 has caused some impact on our economy and our attraction of and now bringing in foreign investment. However, under one country, two systems, our unique advantage is still strong. And now we face unprecedented business opportunities, especially about GBA and Belt and Road. So we are full of confidence in our future prospects. After the pandemic, I'm sure Hong Kong economy will recover fast. Invest Hong Kong would like to say to local legal sector that we are happy to work with you. We want to help more overseas and mainland companies to start up in Hong Kong and to expand their business here. We hope to explore more room for cooperation and better support Hong Kong. That's all from me. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Chiang. When we designed today's webinar, when we thought of which guest to invite, well, we have given a lot of thoughts. We have invited Ms. Maria Tam. She views the matter from a macro point of view, and then we have invited Nick and Ambrose, and they talk as practitioners as to how to make use of the opportunities. And then finally, Dr. Chiang analyzed from a non-legal sector perspective. I'm excited to hear all the points. Hong Kong will play an important role both inbound and outbound. Dr. Chiang talks about innovation and technology and the finance sectors. They are closely related to us. I also work on wealth management, so there are many opportunities. One more important point from Dr. Chiang is legal tech. Legal tech is something we need to think about. Nick is also an expert. Now, time is limited. If you have questions, please raise your questions through the chat room. It is really invaluable opportunity given so many guests are with us. Let me start first. My question is for Ms. Tam. Now, apart from solicitors, there are also barristers in the legal sector. And many young barristers said, hey, CM, you always say that there are so many opportunities in China. What are the opportunities for barristers? They have doubts. So what's your answer, Ms. Tam? Well, because we have no fusion, so as a result, many business matters are handled by solicitors. And for litigation lawyers, usually they mainly work in Hong Kong court work, and they play leading position there. But please don't think that China's legal development is actually exclusive. Well, of course, there are many excellent students who may study common law as well. So for young lawyers, especially barristers, my answer is that if there are examinations, please take them. If there are new concepts and new things, please learn. If you want to develop in China, our pockets are empty. However, your brains must be filled with knowledge, and you must be willing to learn. Well, for baby boomers like us, well, you need to accumulate your experience. Well, we rely on accumulation of experience. We rely on being willing to learn. We rely on those big brothers like Ambrose. So they are willing to teach young lawyers. I think the whole legal sector needs to help the young lawyers. Otherwise, barristers will find it difficult to find a path. Last year, as far as I know, the Secretary for Justice is talking to the mainland counterparts on how Hong Kong barristers can join mainland law firms. Well, I think more work will be done with policies, but everybody needs to learn, work hard, and accumulate experience. Otherwise, there won't be something falling from the sky for you, right? Yes, thank you, Ms. Tam. I think, again, this is about mindset and mentality. We need to make sure that we are no longer arrogant. We should not think that we are superior. Well, in front of us, there are excellent opportunities. We should try to cooperate with the mainland. We should not be that negative-minded. Thank you. Next question is for Nick. Nick, as I said, you are an expert in many high-end sectors and also an expert in IP. You are a partner in an international firm in Hong Kong. So for overseas or international firms, how do they see the 14th five-year plan? Follow the money. Dr. Chiang just talked about big data. In some regions, well, whenever a company spends $200, $1 is spent as legal fee. So we should go and follow the big business or the big deals. And there will only be business when the political situation is stable in a place. So among international law firm partners, we also discuss, because there are many worries about political stability. People asked, after the national security law is passed, will there still be opportunities for lawyers here? Well, no one has left in our firm. For some international law firms, their annual income is like $1 billion USD or $4 billion USD. These are large firms. So they are good at doing business. And these companies have not left Hong Kong. Why? Because Hong Kong has a very big natural advantage. There are so many international companies doing business here, and a lot of funds go through or go in and out of China through Hong Kong. So international law firms are not worried. So of course, we are quite sure that economic development will not be obstructed. And we are hopeful about the 14th five-year plan and the opportunities arising there. So for our society, for citizens, for our customers, we want to do more. Thank you. Together with Mr. Tam or Ms. Tam, we attended many international conferences to explain the situation in Hong Kong. In the past 2 years, a lot happened, and then there is the national security law as well. We need to put in a lot of effort to explain things to the international world. Nick, I think you need to help. You need to also help to explain why we need national security law. Ambrose, just now you shared a lot about your experience. I am more concerned about young lawyers. I have some young partners who were just promoted to partner not long ago. They were in their 30s. So they asked about opportunities in the 14th five-year plan. They asked whether they should give up everything in Hong Kong and go to the mainland for development. What will you suggest? I suggest that apart from going to the mainland, to know more about how work is done in China and also accumulate more connections. Well, the more important is the unique advantages of firms in Hong Kong. And the 14th five-year plan poses a lot of opportunities for us. I think they should take more part in international platform. Now there is still the pandemic, we cannot travel, but I think that they should get vaccination as soon as possible. Once the border is opened, then they can go. This is our biggest strength. We have the SAR passport. We can travel very conveniently to do due diligence. And then there is telecommunication facility, which is very good. These are our unique advantages. Hong Kong lawyers should not waste these resources. They should learn and equip themselves and be better prepared for the future. Thank you. This is really a rare opportunity and golden opportunity. Because of time, I may not be able to answer all questions online. Now, Dr. Chiang, we know the role of Invest Hong Kong. We know its focus. How will you work with the legal sector in the future? We welcome further cooperation with the legal sector to make contributions to the Hong Kong economy. On one hand, in terms of market promotion, we can work together, especially in business seminars. We can explain to potential investors the advantages in the Hong Kong business sector and business opportunities. If we get support from the legal sector, then I think we can explain our advantages in the legal sector as well as our independent judiciary more. We hope more companies will set up their business here in Hong Kong. Then they can get all-round support from the government, and they can also get the biggest convenience. Thank you for the sharing. Well, I know that time is up. We do want to continue our discussion, but because of time, I must end here. Once again, thank you, guests, for your excellent sharing. And thank you, webcast participants. I hope you have gained a lot. I will pass the floor back to the MC. Thank you, Mr. Chen and guests, for your sharing. The second panel is Breaking Down Barriers for Dispute Resolution. Our moderator is Dr. Thomas So-Shil Chung, Chairman of EBRAM International Online Dispute Resolution Center Limited. He's also former Chairman of the Law Society of Hong Kong. For this session, we have the following guests. Dr. Anthony Chao, member of the 13th National Committee of Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. Mr. Fred Khan, Director of Managing Committee, DHH Khan & LL, Tian Hai Law Firm. Mr. Hyun Wong, past President and Chairman of Arbitration Committee, Law Society of Hong Kong. Ms. Maggie Chen, Hong Kong SAR, Deputy to the 13th NPC. Now, we will pass the floor to our moderator, Dr. So. Thank you. Once again, thank you, organizer, Hong Kong Law Society, and DFJ for organizing this webinar together with Invest Hong Kong. The panel just now was excellent. We were in the room next door, and we forgot about the time. For this panel, it is about the 14th Five-Year Plan policy, strategies, and opportunities. So in the coming hour, we will focus on cross-border dispute resolution and how we can break down the barriers. Today, we have some very important guests, 4 important guests. Before each makes a presentation, I will introduce the bios of the speaker in detail. I'm sure you know them. We have Maggie Chen, Anthony Chao, Frederick Khan, and Hyun Wang. So, because of time, let's start. I will invite each speaker to share his views about the topic, and then there may be questions from online audiences and guests. So within the limited time for this session, we will invite our guests to answer. But I can only try my best because of time constraints. Okay, first guest, Miss Maggie Chen. In 2017, she was elected as NPC Deputy for Hong Kong. She is the founding chairman of Small and Medium-Sized Law Firm Association and also the 12th executive member of the China Federation on Women. Practicing areas includes GBA international legal advice, cross-border wealth management, and also cross-border recognition. So cross-border wealth management is going to be a future room for development for Hong Kong. So we hope to listen more about this. She also takes up different community affairs, including a member of election committee for CE election. She also takes up other public offices. So without further ado, let's pass the floor to Ms. Chen. Okay, thank you. Welcome, online and offline participants. I said online and offline participants because lawyers are no longer limited to face-to-face communications. Well, Hong Kong is an international legal center, and we only need to sit in our office, and then we can already get in touch with international customers all over the world. Today, my topic is taking active part in due circulations and make good use of 3 platforms: the court, arbitration, and mediation. Many people talk about the 14th Five-Year Plan. They focus on economic blueprint. And just now, Nick referred to the crystal ball for lawyers. For 14th Five-Year Plan, there is also a rule of law blueprint. Hong Kong lawyers must benchmark ourselves to the 14th Five-Year Plan rule of law blueprint. The 14th Five-Year Plan and the 2035 Vision, Chapter 59, talks about rule of law in China, and it states clearly that there should be stronger extraterritorial legal system building and development of legal talents. So in China, and also there is the dual circulation and 14th Five-Year Plan. There should be strong and powerful rule of law guarantee and also a business environment based on rule of law. In the process, China will be ruled with full regards to rule of law. And the legal sector will definitely get involved in integrating mainland lawyers, overseas lawyers, notary public, and also arbitration mediation resources. And definitely in the process, there's the need for faster training of world-class arbitration organizations, law firms, and extraterritorial legal experts. These are the strengths of Hong Kong solicitors and barristers, so we should take active part in the dual circulation. We should make good use of the courts, arbitration, and mediation platforms. Besides, we should seize our points of sustainable development, because the legal service market is not restricted to the local 7 million people. We should not wait for the opportunity to come to Hong Kong. Actually, through the States, we can get in touch with the whole world. Hong Kong's legal sector can seize the opportunity under the dual circulation of the 14th Five-Year Plan, so that we can be a unique platform for legal services for both China and the world. We can take deeper part in the Greater Bay development and the Belt and Road legal development. Let me talk about mainland rule of law development. The 14th Five-Year Plan and 2035 Vision, Chapter 31, Section 3, states that there should be development of Greater Bay, and there should be mutual recognition of Hong Kong and Macau legal practitioners. There should be better interface in terms of rules and mechanisms. And then for mutual recognition of practicing qualifications, in the first panel, our guests already made some points. In August last year, NPCSC decided that Hong Kong legal practitioners, that is lawyers, solicitors, as well as barristers, by taking examination, can get practicing qualifications in all 9 cities of GBA, so they can get into the mainland legal system to offer legal services. Now, for such legal services, they are applicable to litigations and non-litigation area for civil and business issues. And then we are allowed to enter 9 cities of the mainland to practice as lawyers. So we are Hong Kong GBA lawyers. And after getting this qualification, we can become partners of mainland law firms in the Greater Bay. People are wondering whether only solicitors are allowed to enter. Actually, barristers can also have an eye over China. The court is not the only place of work. They can integrate with mainland's development as solicitors. In mainland, there will be a platform for them to develop in law firms. For partner firms, the operation will be further opened up. So in the past, there was the restriction that Hong Kong lawyers must contribute at least 30% of the capital of partner firms, and this restriction will be removed. Now, in 2019, the amendment to CEPA was good. Even though Hong Kong solicitors and barristers are not going to take the examination to become mainland lawyers, they can serve in no more than 3 mainland law firms as legal advisors in Hong Kong law. So you can see that you can choose Hong Kong as your runway. You can also choose to get into the mainland system to practice mainland law. In 2020, in Guangdong province, there are altogether 11 partner firms crossing 3 places, 52 Hong Kong lawyers and 16 Macau lawyers practicing in those partner firms. With the 14th five-year plan and the dual circulations, I believe that there will be more Hong Kong legal practitioners going to GBA to offer different types of legal services. Okay, because of time, I will talk about the application of Hong Kong laws. Please don't think that Hong Kong laws are only useful in Hong Kong. Actually, they will also be used in mainland China. The Supreme People's Court is looking at the applicability of extraterritorial laws. So actually, the parties in question can choose. So for Hong Kong enterprises who are involved in a dispute, well, they can choose to adopt Hong Kong law. This is an entry point. Customers can choose Hong Kong law in mainland. So Hong Kong legal practitioners can break the barrier in terms of time and space. So GBA, Hong Kong GBA lawyers or Hong Kong mediators or Hong Kong legal practitioners can also serve as expert witnesses in mainland litigations and mediations. So my last part, I will use Tian High Court as an example. In the Tian High Court, there is an extraterritorial application system to enhance the applicability of Hong Kong law. Before 2020, Tian High Court has adopted Hong Kong law in some cases, and in 5 years, 5 cases, 15 cases, and mediation was used in 12 cases, successful cases. In 2020, Shenzhen Tian High Court said explicitly that they will serve the mainland based on Hong Kong, and they will open up to the external world. And in 1st October 2020, there is the Shenzhen Economic Region Tianhai Shenzhen Hong Kong Modern Service Area Cooperation. And Section 57 states that Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan registered companies registered in Tianhai can make an agreement on the validity of contracts, so they can choose to adopt Hong Kong laws. Hong Kong laws are common laws. So in other words, it is a bridge linking to the external and international legal world. Shenzhen Tian High Court is more active in using Hong Kong law in trials. So that means they have the need for Hong Kong GBA lawyers, and besides appearing in courts, Hong Kong lawyers without mainland license can serve as legal experts in common law and Hong Kong laws. They can give legal advice and they can serve as witness in court. Of course, when it comes to one-stop dispute resolution mechanism, there is the role of mediator, and we can employ Hong Kong mediators. This is also an entry point for us to get into the legal market of mainland. Because of time, I will pause here. Thank you, Ms. Chen. You mentioned many areas under the 14th five-year plan. Those are opportunities for Hong Kong lawyers. So Hong Kong laws may be applicable. Hong Kong lawyers can take part in litigations, arbitrations, and mediations in China. For Hong Kong young lawyers, they will think of what kind of preparation they need to do before they can take part in such developments. So first of all, language. They may have to be proficient in Chinese. They will have to be able to speak and understand Mandarin. Is that a must? Number two, you also mentioned the GBA examination. People can choose to take it or not take it. If they don't take the exam, is it true that they need to be more familiar with mainland laws? This is a short question. Yes, a short answer from me. For your second question, even if you don't choose to take the examination, as a Hong Kong lawyer, Hong Kong is a part of China. And we need to follow the 14th five-year plan. So even if you don't sit the examination for mainland license, you have to be familiar with the state and with China's international positioning. Only then can you enjoy your advantage as a common law lawyer. To enter the mainland's judicial system, of course, your Chinese standard must be good. But I want to state that Chinese or Hong Kong lawyers and barristers are not there to compete viciously with mainland lawyers. What is our strength? We are internationalized. So whether or not you get the mainland license is not the most important. But we need to strive for a cross-border, cross-national, international vision and experience. Because in Tianhai, they follow international treaties in some trials, and 10 cases are involved. So if we take Tianhai Court as an example, you still need to know international treaties. Only then can you have your unique advantage realized. Well, then I think you can be differentiated from mainland lawyers. Okay, now let's move on to the second guest, Dr. Anthony Chao. Dr. Chao, in 1982, already established Anthony Chao and Co. And now he is the global president of Gunho firm, and also the first advisor for Hong Kong. In terms of cross-border transactions, he has a lot of experience. Dr. Chang is also a Chinese notary public. And then in 1997 to the year 2000, Dr. Chao was elected president of the Hong Kong Law Society. He is also one of the honorary lawyers of the Law Society. Now, he is a member of the CPPCC in 2018 to 2020. He was the chairman of the Hong Kong Jockey Club, and now he is also the third-party subsidized arbitration and mediation organization member. He also holds many other different public offices, but I won't go into the details. Now over to you, Dr. Chao. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Law Society and DFJ for inviting me to join this webinar. Thank you, Invest Hong Kong as well. So the topic for today is breaking down barriers for dispute resolution. When it comes to breakthrough or breaking down barriers, this means that in the area of dispute resolution, no matter whether we are talking about local or international disputes, Hong Kong has already made some achievements. Let me give an example about arbitration. In 2020, the Hong Kong International Arbitration Center received 318 applications. In the past 10 years, this is a new record, a peak. And if you look from another perspective, if you talk about amount of money handled in arbitration, last year it was 68 billion or 8.8 billion USD. So it is a new record in the past 10 years. So we have made such an achievement. I don't want to talk about breakthrough first. I want to first share with you the following. How did we make such an achievement? On what foundation? We always talked about our strengths. What are our strengths really? What are our conditions that we have so that we can make such achievements? For these strengths and conditions, are they still there right now? Next slide, please. We always talk about our strengths. Some strengths have been there long time ago. They were carried forward from 1997. A lot of people are familiar. For example, rule of law. Our high awareness about rule of law. We have independent judiciary. We have a stable political environment. We are an international financial center. We have sound legal system. But there is one thing I want to focus more. That is a stable political environment. Hong Kong's political environment all along has been stable. However, in June 2019, there was the row in relation to the anti-extradition law. And then we saw that in Hong Kong, the political environment is very fragile, vulnerable. And in the process, we are lucky that in June last year, China very decisively enacted and implemented the national security law. As a result, our social order came back to the right track, and Hong Kong people's safety and freedom are not further endangered. And then this year, on the constitutional level, our state made a decision to improve the election system or the election method in Hong Kong. After that, I hope that the operation of LegCo and the Hong Kong government can go back to the right track. In the process, we have seen the importance of China's support for us, and also the importance of one country, two systems and the basic law. Our unique strengths are from one country, two systems and the basic law. Without them, we won't have our strengths. Our strengths will disappear. So please bear in mind that our strengths are not or cannot be taken for granted. We must understand that on top of two systems, there is one country. We must respect one country as much as possible, and we must defend China's sovereignty over Hong Kong. So much about our strengths. Now, I would like to talk about our conditions, our positive conditions. In Hong Kong, we possess many conditions, and I think that these conditions must be sustainable. First, can we go back to the previous slide? The conditions that we need is that the Hong Kong government must support and improve all the related systems. The government should try their best to build more network and good business environment for us and help Hong Kong as a legal hub and enhance our reputation. This is important. Without this point, then there will be a big discount to our development. Another condition is we must develop high-quality legal teams. These legal teams must have international standard, and they must be competitive. Now, for the legal team, well, it comprises judges, lawyers, and other legal practitioners. For example, every year, the Law Society conducts CPD, so continuous professional development. So the Law Society can do something to enhance lawyers' ability in dispute resolution. I think more has to be done. Because of time, I won't go into the details. So these are important strengths and conditions for us. We must be able to maintain these strengths and conditions before we can break down barriers. Now I will move on to breaking down barriers. Regarding breaking down barriers, it is about how we seize the opportunities. Right now, I think opportunities are all over the world. However, we have to understand that the current global environment is not stable at all. It is not certain at all. How deep is the impact of COVID-19? Well, it is not certain yet. But what we are sure is that China's economy is more stable than many other economies. The global economy is rather gloomy, and global economy actually suffers from negative development. For China, we believe that we can grow our GDP at 2.5%, and for the coming year, total GDP growth may reach 7%. So this means that there are a lot of opportunities in China. Where do the opportunities come from? If we take a look, well, in 2020, that's the end of the 13th five-year plan. And now, the two Congresses have passed the 14th five-year plan, and that is from 2021 to 2025. And it's mentioned about the GBA, the Belt and Road, the innovation and development, green development, and high-end development. All these generate a lot of opportunities. We need to understand each of them. Because I don't have much time, I hope that you will go back to examine in closer detail the 14th five-year plan. Besides, it is not only about the short term, but also the long term. What is the long-term goal by 2035? How is the overall blueprint like? I hope that lawyers will examine in greater detail and equip yourselves well so that you can tie in your work with the state's developments and needs. Just now, Ms. Maria Tam and other panel guests have made a lot of points. The opportunities should not be missed. If the opportunities are missed, they won't come back. In the past 2 years, China has helped us maintain our competitive advantages. And there are opportunities for us as well, and we cannot afford to miss them. That's all from me for the time being. So I hope you will really give deeper thoughts to all these points. Mr. Lam just said that we should go more to China to have better understanding of the state's situation. If you don't do that, if you don't change your mindset, then it will be difficult to seize the opportunities. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Chao.
重要嘅一點就係咧，我哋今日嗰個論壇嗰個題目係政策策略與機遇。咁咧查實一開頭嗰陣時，梁副主席同埋譚主任咧喺佢哋個發言咧係帶出一點咧我非常認同，亦都頭先周博士講嘅就係我哋唔可以單單喺14五規劃淨係睇香港部分，或者淨係睇 機遇嘅部分，我哋要睇整體。其實我哋國家喺14.5規劃整體個國家政策同佢個策略所造就，可能造就到俾我哋香港嘅機遇。呢一度咧，其實我就好想咧就跟住一個好短時間，我知道時間係唔係好多，但係呢個非常重要嘅就係頭先周博士提到政治穩定嗰個問題。嗰個問題咧，其實咧，如果大家有時間睇14.5規劃，就睇翻香港嗰部分嚇，61章嗰度，大家好多時頭先一路都喺度講，中央會支持我哋做乜中心啊，國際中心咩？但其實嗰一段前邊，其實咧，我哋國家咧係講到明，保持香港、澳門長期繁榮穩定係如何去保持咧？全面貫徹落實一國兩制、港人治港、澳人治澳、高度自治嘅方針，堅持
high degree of autonomy and also defending the constitution and basic law and also the constitutional system, constitution, basic law, how they are being implemented and also the constitutional order, the overall governance for the SAR, defending national security system and interests, and also the overall stability of Hong Kong. And then we must stop any interference of external elements over Hong Kong. And then competitiveness of Hong Kong and Macau must be enhanced. And after those, then the establishment of different centers and hubs. So if you have time, you really should read the 14th five-year plan. So the opportunities are linked to national policies and strategies. So I think this is very important. Hong Kong should enhance competitive advantage. Dr. Chao just said that right now we are talking about cross-border dispute resolution. Hong Kong government should improve our systems and mechanisms. Dr. Chao, to be specific, what has the Hong Kong government done and what more should be done? I need to serve the Hong Kong government some justice. I think Hong Kong government has done a lot. The Department of Justice has been striving to position Hong Kong as a main international legal and dispute resolution center in Asia Pacific. So a lot has been done in this regard. In the past 10-odd years, the Hong Kong government and the DFJ, together with many jurisdictions and international organizations, signed many arrangements and partnership agreements. So I hope that they will not stop. They will continue such work. In the past 10-odd years, the Hong Kong government organized many activities to enhance Hong Kong's reputation. So in the future, I hope DFJ will build more bridges into the mainland for Hong Kong lawyers, because very often we need people. We need some help for our people. And the Hong Kong government is in a good position to build bridges into China. Now, everything is about technology. And I think that the DFJ should start now and continue to build more platforms. One example is in 2019, in October, a safeguarding office was established. It is a platform so that disputes can be resolved on the online platform. This is important so that in case of dispute resolution, efficiency can improve and costs can be lowered. So the Hong Kong government has done a lot. But I want to remind the Hong Kong government not to stop here, because one of the conditions we need is the Hong Kong government's support. Thank you, Dr. Chao. Now let's move on to the next speaker, Mr. Frederick Khan. Let me introduce Mr. Khan. Many people know him. Mr. Frederick Khan is the founder of Frederick Khan & Co., and he is also the chairman of the management committee of DHH Khan and LL. In 1997 to 2002, Mr. Khan was a member of the Executive Council of Law Society. In 2016, he was included in the Register of Honorary Lawyers of the Law Society. So his contribution to Law Society was recognized. Now, he is the chairman of the Regional Economic Cooperation and also chairman of the Organizing Committee of the Belt and Road Forum. So he has taken up other positions as well. Mr. Khan used to be one of the members of the International Lawyer Association or Alliance. In terms of dispute resolution, Mr. Khan is a recognized arbitrator and mediator. He used to be a member of the International Arbitration Center and also Finance Dispute Resolution Center, member of the board, and president of the selection panel. He has taken up many arbitration and legal service public officers in Hong Kong and Macau. Over to you, please, Mr. Khan. Okay. Mr. Leung, fellow legal practitioners, guests, good morning. As we all know, the 14th five-year plan states that Hong Kong's long-term stability and prosperity should be maintained. This shows that the central government has strong support for Hong Kong, and the path for future development has been laid down. On the legal dimension, Chapter 61 states that the state supports Hong Kong in building itself into an Asia-Pacific international legal and dispute resolution center, and support will be given to our service industry to move towards high-end and high-value-added direction. So in other words, not only the advantages in the legal sector should be maintained, quality and value should also be enhanced. For our international legal service, all along we are in leading position, and our lawyers' professionalism have been well recognized by both local and overseas customers. We have good legal system, and our international dispute resolution and arbitration services are advanced. We are the 4th largest international arbitration center. Just now, Dr. Chao talked about HKRHC, and in 2002, HKIAC broke a record. 318 cases were received for the amount of $8.8 billion USD. At the same time, HKIAC handled 42 applications for interim measures in China, and it preserved assets of 12.5 billion RMB. Number 3, HKIAC handled 117 virtual hearings and helped Hong Kong, Singapore, Canada, British Columbia courts in handling virtual hearings. In 2019, HKIAC was authorized under the Russian law to handle some Russian arbitration cases, including arbitrations within Russia. Apart from Vienna International Arbitration Center, HKIAC is the only permanent arbitrating organization or terminal arbitration institutions, PAI. In arbitration, in the past, Hong Kong has made brilliant achievements, but we should not be complacent. Our local mediation business was given a lot of push by Hong Kong courts, and it developed fast. However, with the trend of the Singapore Mitigation Treaty, we still need to catch up in international mediation. We should strengthen HKMAO, Hong Kong Mediation Accreditation Association functions and roles. There should be more international vision. At the same time, we should go back to the basics to consolidate our mediation service. In the past 2 years, well, we went through a lot of turmoil. As a result, the pressure on our economic growth was big, and it should not be underestimated. Lawyers are to offer quality professional legal service to customers. Economic contraction will mean that demand for high-end professional legal service will decrease, and then good customers will gradually decrease, and we will lack a strong foundation. After national security law is implemented, Hong Kong regains order from chaos. COVID-19, with more widespread vaccination, can be solved. And then what should be done in the way forward? From me, I think that talent development should be given more importance. The Hong Kong legal sector sees more and more talents joining, and this is a guarantee for us to offer quality legal service. We should continue to develop legal education and train professional legal talents, especially in the area of cross-border legal service. I think this is essential. Number 2, we must attach importance to the building of legal culture and export. Well, customers in the past adopted Hong Kong professional legal service and solve legal disputes in Hong Kong because they have high degree of trust in our legal system. And over the years, this is because of our rule of law environment and our cultural heritage. Hong Kong people respect lawyers. They are willing to give their problems to lawyers for resolution. And then we have experience in handling Chinese and Western disputes. And this is a unique culture, which is also a competitiveness. So customers tend to choose Hong Kong service. Hong Kong lawyers who want to broaden international influence and get more high-end market share, then the government should do more to build and export our legal culture. So in this way, more international recognition can be obtained in a very skilled manner. And then Hong Kong lawyers should take the lead to identify quality customers. Now, because of all the anti-epidemic measures, Chinese economy recovered fast. Chinese enterprises have urgent need to expand international markets. So Hong Kong lawyers can expand our business to cover mainland companies. Through connection with mainland law firms, we can solve mainland people's legal needs and offer quality legal services. Number 4, we need to upgrade our service and operating models and keep up with time. Technology advances fast. It changes people's life and thoughts. So internet, AI and other technology have caused a big blow to the legal scene. We should keep up with time and use technology to upgrade our service. Back to myself. Just now, Thomas already said that in mainland China, in Qianhai, we have a joint firm that is a mainland firm, works with Hong Kong and Macau legal firms or law firms, so that there is a mainland Hong Kong, Macau legal services to be provided. This is a new attempt. And actually, the outcomes are rather satisfactory. If you want to know more, I am more than happy to share more with you. Hong Kong is now in a very difficult moment. Some time ago, there was turmoil in more than 8 months, and then after that, there was COVID-19, and now we see China-US friction and conflict. So we will face a lot of challenges. So we need to strengthen ourselves and have trust in ourselves and in Hong Kong, and we should also trust China. Thank you, Mr. Khan. Very good. Now, regarding dispute resolution, here's a short question. I think you have given a very direct answer. In para 61, just now, Mr. Leung already said that the state has some expectations. So for Hong Kong, for the service industry, well, development should be toward high-end and high-value added. Yes. So that's an objective. So, okay. So far, Hong Kong has done a good job in dispute resolution, but we should not be complacent. We need to upgrade ourselves. And when it comes to the 14th five-year plan, this is totally in line with the new development philosophy. In Chapter 1, the development philosophy is higher quality, higher efficiency, fairer, and more sustainable and safer. So that is a kind of upgrading. Now, just now, Mr. Chen talked about Chinese proficiency or knowledge about Chinese laws, and Dr. Chao mentioned what the government can do more. So, Mr. Khan, when it comes to high-end and high-value added development, in the dispute resolution area, what kind of directions should our lawyers adopt? Well, Hong Kong lawyers' strength is their proficiency in English and also our common law. Common law is being practiced by many international legal experts. However, today, in order to achieve the goals you mentioned, Hong Kong must equip ourselves. Hong Kong lawyers must equip ourselves and enhance our knowledge in cross-border legal service. It is not only transactional services, but also cross-border dispute resolution. I believe you have to do that. I have proposed that in our CPD score, we have 15 points, and we have IME risk management. Risk management is a compulsory subject, and in CPD, in our annual CPD requirements, we can consider cross-border legal service training, and it must be made compulsory. So then, what is our goal? After 1 to 2 years, we can say to the whole world that Hong Kong is the only region in the world where all lawyers have been trained in cross-border legal service. I'm sure this can enhance our reputation and our service quality. Thank you, Mr. Khan. Now, the chairman is here, so I'm sure you will relay your points back. And she has shown her thumb up. Okay. Because of time. So now, let's invite our last panel member. He is very influential in this area. He said that he has heavy weight. Well, that may be true. But then in cross-border law and dispute resolution, this is really a very important guest. Mr. Hyun Wong. Okay. I have not worn my spectacles for presbyopia. So, okay, I don't think I need to introduce Mr. Wong too much. I think everybody knows him, but still I need to give some introduction. Mr. Wong is the person in charge of the Chinese office of an American law firm, and he is now the chairman of the Arbitration Commission of the Law Society and the former chairman of the International Arbitration Center. He is now the honorary president of IAC. In the Arbitrators Institute Law Society and Pan-Pacific International Law Society, he was the former chairman, and he is the former chairman of the Copyright Tribunal. He is the serving chairman of the Inland Revenue Appeals Board. Well, he also is taking up many other public offices, also in China. He asked me to stop introducing him, otherwise I will be using up all his 10 minutes. So that's all from me. So now over to you, Mr. Wong. Thank you, Thomas. Online guests, fellow practitioners here, guests. Before we began our panel, we had a discussion among ourselves, and it is agreed that they will talk about macro points and also some statistics, and I will speak as a practitioner. I will talk about problems that we face in arbitration work, what are our strengths, and what are some areas for improvement, and how can we maintain our strengths. In the early 80s, I started to work on arbitration. When I was a trainee solicitor, I started to take up arbitration work, and at that time, all arbitration cases were local and they were about construction, and now it is already globalized. So for international cross-border disputes, arbitration is already the main resolution method. We try our best to avoid relying on overseas courts to solve the disputes. So people don't tend to choose that route already. So arbitration is very important. In Hong Kong, when China continues its development, arbitration is also in the mainstream. At a very early stage, I did arbitration work in China. Yesterday and on Saturday morning, I was working on an arbitration case. Now we are working online. I think it is tiring because I have to hold my head high and I have to keep on looking at the screen. So sometimes people will just ask, "Hey, Mr. Wong, what did you say just now?" Actually, people wanted to challenge our Mandarin proficiency. And besides, the audio quality is not quite good online. And then from time to time, people ask, "Oh, Mr. Wong, did you hear what I said? Did you hear clearly the legal points I made?" So you have to be careful with all these. Now, okay, back to Hong Kong's development trend. In China, arbitration has already been internationalized for some time. And in different places, there are different sets of arbitration rules, and all these rules are based on UNCITRAL rules. And when the rules are amended, amendments are made also locally right away. So in Hong Kong, the arbitration ordinance has also been amended. And all the clauses or sections are in line with the UNCITRAL section numbers so that people find it easier to do cross-referencing. Well, I have handled so many arbitration cases. For the time being, I still think that Hong Kong lawyers have an advantage, especially in cross-border work. So I think in arbitration rules, well, this point is not stated clearly. For example, according to the rules, there are 3 arbitrators, and the applicants should appoint 1. The other party should appoint 1, and then there's also a chief arbitrator. Then how will the 2 arbitrators appoint the 3rd one? There are many ways. Sometimes it's like playing cards. So you give 5 names, I give 5 names, and then scores will be given to each, and then it's like horse racing. The first one will have 5 points, the second one 4 points. And sometimes there will be secret ballot arrangement. So I think all these practices are adopted internationally. So in general, mainland lawyers have not seen these arrangements. And then concerning adversarial system, the mainland is not familiar with international adversarial system. For instance, you need to make application, and then there is counterclaim, and then the reply as a counterclaim, and then rejoinder, a reply to the counterclaim, and so on. So the mainland lawyers are not familiar with all these, but for Hong Kong lawyers, we have studied all these in school, so that is our advantage. Discovery of documents. Discovery of documents. Well, in China, not much importance is attached to it. And in China, when we disclose, or in Hong Kong, when we disclose documents, there's a rep firm procedure, but they have not, the mainland lawyers have not heard about that. And when we want to call upon expert witness, so both parties have expert witnesses, and then the two of them will have to work together as in a hot tub. So it is not really having a hot tub together. It means that the two expert witnesses would work together to present a certain statement. So in general, mainland lawyers are not that familiar with these procedures. So again, this is our strength, and we enjoy first mover advantage in these areas. But please bear in mind that these advantages will not persist for a long time. Recently, I have handled 2 to 3 international arbitrations handled by mainland law firms. Well, they know all the points I made just now. So that means some large firms are familiar with these already. Some of them have studied and worked in common law jurisdictions. So please do not think that you have always a lot of chips in your hands. Well, we may one day use up the chips. We have to enhance ourselves. We must continue to pay attention to development of arbitration. Every year in Hong Kong, there are some Court of Appeal and Court of Final Appeal cases about arbitration judgments, and they are important. So please take a look at them. If you don't have time, I think you should read Hong Kong Lawyer, proposed by Hong Kong Law Society. In every issue, there are many arbitration cases, and there are some articles written by me. So I think you can read them. Besides, no matter what you are doing, well, litigation lawyers are sometimes arrogant. Well, corporate lawyers deal with difficult cases like PE, things related to capital market, debt, equity, and so on. And at the end of the day, if there is dispute, they will come to me. And if I don't know what the others are doing, I don't know what they are handling, then I cannot represent them in litigation. So in other words, you have to know more about commercial transactions. If you don't know what a sandbox is, if you don't know anything about letter of intent, non-disclosure agreements, S&P agreements, and also reps, warranties, how they are written, disclaimers, and also conditioned precedence closing, escort agreement. If you do not know all these, then you don't know what people are talking about in lawsuits. So you will be at a disadvantage. Now, I must let you know that mainland young lawyers are very good at these. PE, investment, EC funding, they are very familiar. So they don't only know legal work. They will also consider the commercial angle. That is the issuer's angle or the acquirer's angle. What the acquirers have in mind, they know. So my advice for you is you need to know arbitration, you need to maintain our competitive advantage, and you must enhance yourselves. Please read LCIA decisions, and you must be familiar with the 14th five-year plan. That is, you need to know things related to our role as an international financial center. Otherwise, when people employ you to represent them in lawsuits, you won't know what to do. So there is nothing better than self-enhancement. So from time to time, please read Hong Kong Lawyer. It's very useful. Okay. Now, because of time, there is a short question for you. Now, in Shenzhen and Qianhai, you hold public office in arbitration there. So when it comes to cross-border arbitration, is there any new developments? Can you elaborate? Thank you. Yes, as said just now, everybody keeps on enhancing itself. Shenzhen SEIA has already established its rules, and at the same time, it is doing something very avant-garde. For example, everybody is allowed to enter into lawsuits in Qianhai, and SCIA will be the overseer. But then Hong Kong law can apply. Well, people can choose to adopt UNCITRAL rules as well. That is also allowed. Or if you come to Qianhai for lawsuits, but then the seat of arbitration is considered a Hong Kong arbitration. So all these are very avant-garde. And then 5 to 6 years ago, in Singapore, there was the emergency arbitration. So decisions are made within a very short period of time. So SEI was the first to snatch that business. And now SEI is doing something very new. In the past, we thought that arbitration is final. But now, well, there can be appeal. So SEI is already looking into establishing those rules. So after an arbitration, it seems that the two parties are still not happy, and they may want to appeal. Well, this is unheard of by many people, but I want to say that mainland China is very advanced, even faster than us, okay? Because of time constraints, okay? Can each speaker spend 30 seconds? Now, we have 200-odd members of the Hong Kong Law Society with us online, so please spend 30 seconds each and tell our members what they can do to enhance themselves and how they can more effectively seize the opportunities from the 14th Five-Year Plan. Maggie? Fellow lawyers and barristers, as lawyers, I think we should not only consider laws. We are Hong Kong people, and we are also Chinese nationals. And we should look at China's development from this perspective. So, as lawyers, how can we shoulder the historical mission and at the same time work for our own interest? So lawyers in all three places can form a national team. We should have our strengths realized, and we should look at the international world and compete with overseas. So in the international legal arena, we hope that we can take the lead. So as a Chinese Hong Kong lawyer, I won't have any regrets. Thank you. Dr. Zhang, young lawyers in Hong Kong right now still have not opened up their horizon enough. As I said, they should go to China more and understand the situation there. They should understand the Chinese culture and the operation and also the structure of our state. If they do not open up their mindset, it will be difficult for them to enjoy further opportunities. As such as now, mainland lawyers have very high standard. They are very advanced. If we do not go to China ourselves to take a look and have further understanding and break this barrier, then we won't be able to upgrade ourselves. So please go back to the mainland more. Thank you. Fred? As said just now, young lawyers or mature lawyers need to strengthen themselves. We should not be complacent. We should learn every day. We should go back to mainland China and travel overseas as well, because the world is unified. The world is globalized. We must keep on learning. We should not be complacent. That is my advice. Oh, the same thing. So practical issues, young people, when you meet me next time, please don't ask me how to become an arbitrator. Please don't be anxious. You have to prepare yourself in arbitration. You need to be familiar with arbitration cases as an arbitration lawyer. And then when you are old enough or mature enough, then people will appoint you as arbitrator. Of course, there are some examinations that you must take. Besides, you don't need to sell yourself deliberately as arbitrator. If you handle many arbitration cases, then people will know you naturally. Yes, let me supplement. In Hong Kong, our lawyers always say, oh, I want to have the mediator or arbitrator qualifications. Actually, what we lack is advocacy. We must train our lawyers so when they represent their clients in arbitration or mediation, they must be very outstanding advocates. This is used. Two important breakthroughs are the Greater Bay Area Legal Practicing Examination and also reciprocal enforcement of arbitration judgments in mainland and Hong Kong, supplementary arrangement. These two breakthroughs will bring about more benefits for the development of GBA by means of Hong Kong's legal and dispute resolution service, and there will be better integration and professional exchange in the Greater Bay. For legal practitioners in Hong Kong, including lawyers and solicitors and barristers having 5 years and above practicing experience, where after taking the examination for the Greater Bay practice, can handle some civil, commercial, legal matters in Greater Bay, including both litigation and non-litigation business. So more opportunities and practicing experience can be brought for the Hong Kong legal sector. Besides, for GBA customers, including Hong Kong enterprises, well, they can enjoy diversified legal service and protection. Based on my understanding, Hong Kong has more than 650 solicitors and barristers who have enrolled to the first GBA practicing examination. And I would like to take this opportunity to wish them every success in the exam. The DOJ, together with the Supreme People's Court, have discussed about practicing training, practical training, so that they can be more effective in their work in GBA. In terms of dispute resolution, all along, Hong Kong is the first choice for international legal and dispute resolution service. In arbitration, Hong Kong has leading position and a firm foundation. On 27th November 2020, the DOJ, together with the Supreme People's Court, signed a reciprocal enforcement of arbitration judgment supplementary arrangement between mainland and Hong Kong. And it further enforces or enhances the original arrangement which has been in place for 20 years. And the local legislation work was passed on 17th March this year. And it will come into effect on the 19th of May this year. Besides, in October 2019, there was the mutual assistance for arbitration between mainland and Hong Kong courts, so that Hong Kong has become the first jurisdiction outside of mainland China as a place of arbitration where applicants can make application to mainland court. In 2020, Hong Kong IAC had handled 22 such applications in relation to preservation of evidence, assets, and conduct or behavior. And applications were made to 14 different mainland people's courts, and the amount of money involved reached 6.4 billion RMB. In 2020, mainland people's courts have approved a total amount of 4.4 billion RMB in applications. Such arrangement has showcased Hong Kong's status as an international hub in legal and also trade facilitation and dispute resolution. In mediation, we have also a firm foundation. We have mediation ordinance and apology ordinance in support of this development in Hong Kong. Last year, on 11th December, there was the second Greater Bay Area Legal Department Joint Conference. And the GBA Mediation Platform Building Plan was passed. And the mediation platform for GBA will promote the use of mediation, and also there will be the role of setting rules, setting standards to promote the use of mediation in GBA. We believe that with the building of such platform, the Hong Kong law legal sector will enjoy even more opportunities. Development and the use of legal tech or law tech and online dispute resolution is a global trend. The 14th five-year plan has said that support should be given to Hong Kong service sector to move towards high-end and high-value added development. And there is clear support for Hong Kong to build itself into an international innovation and technology center and regional IP trading center. Now, the DFJ is now encouraging interested not-for-profit and NGOs to offer and provide legal or cloud legal service. The Hong Kong Legal Cloud will be in Hong Kong. This is an advanced and convenient facility, hoping to offer a safe and reliable and affordable data storage system for the legal and dispute resolution sector. DFJ attaches much importance to legal talent training. We encourage the legal and dispute resolution sectors in Hong Kong, especially the younger members in the sector, to make good use of the GBA Youth Employment Scheme so that when they handle or take up legal and dispute resolution work in mainland, they will be given more support. Besides, Tianhai, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Modern Service Industry Cooperation Management Organization will offer financial support for young eligible people. So I hope that you will seize the opportunity and you can turn a new page in the Greater Bay in your career development. Besides, the DFJ last year in October and in March this year organized a webinar and organized together with Tsinghua University a course on Chinese law. We hope that in the future we can continue to organize this course, and then private practitioners and Hong Kong lawyers can participate so that Hong Kong lawyers' understanding about the mainland legal system can be enriched. In the future, the DFJ will work hard to deepen our cooperation with the mainland in legal and dispute resolution service. For Hong Kong enterprises registered in Tianhai, they are allowed to choose Hong Kong law as the applicable laws for their civil and business matters. So without any extraterritorial factors, Hong Kong laws can serve as applicable laws. And we actively seek help from the central government so that this service can be extended to Shenzhen as well as the whole GBA, so that more Hong Kong enterprises can have more flexibility in choosing applicable laws. Besides, we are seeking consensus with the Supreme People's Court to look into GBA cities with close economic ties with Hong Kong like Shenzhen, so that there can be pilot points to establish cooperation mechanism about liquidation of companies. I think this will help to enhance Hong Kong, to enhance our regional status in the area of liquidation and debt reorganization, so that mutual judicial aid in business and civil matters can be enriched and more opportunities can be brought to the sector. Finally, last month, the NPCSC passed the amendment to Annex 1 and 2 of the Basic Law about CE election and LegCo election methods, so as to make sure that there is balanced and orderly political participation by various sectors. And then Hong Kong SAR's high degree of autonomy and the central government's complete sovereignty can be combined. And then there will be patriotic people ruling Hong Kong, and one country, two systems can enjoy stable long-term development. Hong Kong is now well prepared. We are making full use of our unique advantage under one country, two systems. We are capitalizing on our strengths and complementing with China to achieve synergistic development. We are working in line with dual circulation. I believe that Hong Kong's advancement and the state development are closely related. Under the state's support, Hong Kong continues to move forward to achieve progress. And in the future, we must integrate with the state's development. The DFJ will make active use of our strengths and advantages in legal and dispute resolution service. We will continue to reinforce Hong Kong as an international legal hub. We'll work with the trade or the profession to seize opportunities from the 14th Five-Year Plan, and we will build for the state with innovative mindset, and we will make contribution to peaceful China. Thank you very much. Thank you, Secretary. Our webinar is concluded here. Once again, thank you, guests, for your sharing. Thank you, participants, for joining. So the video record of this webinar will be uploaded to Legal Hub channel and the Facebook page. Please feel free to review this webinar anytime. After this webinar is ended, you will see the questions asked on the screen. I hope that you will complete the questionnaire survey so that we will understand some room for improvement for the future. If you have any inquiries, please feel free to contact Secretariat of the Legal Society. Thank you.
多謝大家，
多謝晒你，我哋真係好嘢，你問我個問題，我冇講到，你真係佢琴日聽你講咗啊嘛。我哋有個大陸招牌，我而家去影相，影相我影相。你好叻問嘢，都幾開心啊！我成日俾人笑，你好叻去將啲開攞翻出嚟問嘢。